Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we're continuing on this renovation of a 1956 Calcraft. As you can see, we've got framing for the decking, but we don't have the plywood on the top yet. I'm going to cut the plywood to our width and lay it down, get half of it tacked in, and then measure out our wheel openings and get those cut and put into place. One thing that I was just thinking about, and it's a little, I don't know, it's got me a little perplexed, but I have to do something about my wheel wells. Let me show them to you. So these are the wheel wells, and one of them's in okay shape, and the other one's in pretty bad shape. So, you know, I could use them, or I could replace them. But replacing them is a little bit custom, so I might have to go back to Jake and have him whip something up for me. Like, they don't really need to be curved like this. You know, in theory, that eats up the least amount of interior volume, so you could put some extra storage in there. But I don't really foresee doing that, so we could just do a really simple kind of trapezoidal wheel arch and put that in there. So long as the width and the height's the same, it wouldn't really matter. I've got a little bit of time to decide exactly what I'm going to do there. I'm going to do the deck first, and then, I don't know, maybe I'll get some walls on there. Oh. Once you get your panel on there, you can really see how things are going to square up, because your panel comes from the mill nice and square, so you can use that as a reference for lining everything up. Fortunately, our trailer is our trailer deck is exactly 8 feet long, so 2 panels will very neatly cover it exactly. So I'm going to mark my width on that, and I'll just take my circular saw and zip that off. Jeez. Whew, there's a big spider there. Okay, bud, come on. Okay, so before anything gets tacked down, these spots for the wheel arches need to be cut out. So I'm going to have to center up my wheel well on here, and this piece is going to get cut, and then there's going to be a box cut out on the top of this. So I'll do that with, probably do this with a handsaw, because that's pretty easy to do. This I'll do with my jigsaw, right? Yeah. I mean, I'll do it with a saw, whatever saw I do it with. So as luck would have it, our axle is centered basically right in the middle of this panel. So I just need to find the center of it, and then the width to that frame rail, and then 32.5. So that's pretty easy. No. So, what's up? Oh, it's time to eat? Oh, okay. Thank you, I'll be in just a second. Time to eat, though. Okay. So lunch is over, and I've forgotten what I was doing, so let's just go back and remeasure. Okay, so with that wheel well marked, I can cut that out, and then it's just a matter of figuring out what we're actually going to do with the wheel well. Okay, I'm going to mark the same on the other side. Okay, so I've got my holes for the wheel wells cut. These panels are ready to be attached to the framing below it. I'm going to use a little bit of glue. It's probably not super necessary, but I've never been the one to think that things can be too secure.
What did you say? This is going great. I felt it, so I just fought it. I don't know what I've started. We fall in love. Yeah, some of it feels.
It's halfway down.
I'm here and I'm caught up dreaming. Jaded and sorry. So you wanna. I guess it's much easier for you.
Now I'm going to put the wheels back on so I can turn the camper to better orient it underneath the carport now that we have actual wood on it and really don't want it getting wet. Okay. Yeah, put it on there. And turn it. Yep.
Work. Nope.
Oh, you got that one? Nope, not quite.
Nope. I love this one.
You gotta work that one?
That's better. Oops. They do.
Okay, so I've decided to go ahead and take these over to Jake and let him take a look at them and see if there's anything he can do with them to make them a little better to reuse. Like I said, I could probably make that one work, but this one's pretty messed up, so we'll get something done on these. All right, so Jake said to give him about a week on those wheel wells. Honestly, I don't really need them until the walls actually go up. So we'll be building the walls before we really need to mess around with those wheel wells anyway, but it's good to have that in progress. So I'm going to add right here, we'll just take this piece that I've cut at an angle, push it into place with some glue, a couple screws, and we're done. So the last thing I have to do to secure the deck to the frame is to drill up through these little holes in the frame and drop some lag screws down through them. Okay, so one of the questions that I've gotten asked a lot has to do with weatherproofing the underside of your camper. And I know a lot of people say, oh, well, I painted it with rhino liner, or I completely sealed the underside of my camper. And the thinking there is that when you're driving and water splashes up on this, it prevents it from soaking into the underbody down here. The thing with doing that is that for that to be very effective is you have to be very rigorous in filling, getting every little nook and cranny covered. Because what happens is if you get any area that's exposed, or if something gets damaged and gets exposed, so you have to maintain these coatings as well. And that little exposed area allows water to penetrate into the wood. Then, because you've sealed the outside, there's no way for the water to get back out except through whatever tiny little area it got into in the first place. So potentially you wind up with your structure staying wet for longer when it does get wet. If you leave it unexposed like this, then it gets water on it, it dries out, it goes away. And I'm of the thinking that that's the better way to go about it, because if you coat this, you've got to come through every however many miles and make sure that the coating is holding up. The other side to it is with a vintage camper, you know, it's maybe not the wisest thing to drive in the rain. Definitely not if it's a really hard rain. So you shouldn't really be getting this sopping wet. It ought to be able to dry out naturally pretty easily. And, you know, the other thing to say about it is originally a lot of these weren't undercoated and they still lasted, you know, 50 years or so. I don't really think it's as big of a concern as some people think it is. It's certainly not a concern for me. Every camper I've ever done, I haven't done anything to the underside, and so far they've held up just fine. Alright, well that's basically it. Now I have to build the walls, build them separate from this. Unfortunately, that also means I need to buy some more wood, but I am looking forward to moving along with this. So this is an exciting point to get to. As always, new videos come out every Sunday, so make sure and like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.